So we know over that history that AV products have failed in the past, and then we know that AV products are still currently failing to prevent these incidents from happening. Again, they're pretty decent at cleaning it up, half a week later after we build definitions and things like that to clean the incident up. But again, to focus on the prevention side of the house, why are these incidents still happening? There's certainly, I don't believe anybody could explain that there's millions and millions of computers out there that have no AV products on them, and that's why these incidents are happening. When you buy a computer from IBM, Dell, it's nearly impossible these days to pick up a computer that doesn't have some sort of AV product on it. You could attribute the incidents to definitions that were not up to date, where people are not keeping their antivirus product up to date. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But for now, we wanted to just kind of browse over the history and show that these incidents are still happening, and it's not because AV products are not on the machines, it's because the AV products are not doing the job. So, how do we go about stopping this madness? How do we sort of get to a point where we can solve this problem? We really need to think and rethink about the way we protect systems. We need to think outside the box. We need to stop using technology that history has proven doesn't work. We know that the technology we've been using for the past 10, 20, 30 years really, or 20 years in the AV side, is not cutting the mustard. We know it doesn't work. You can go read the newspaper almost on any given week, and you can make that conclusion for yourself pretty quickly and easily. So what do we know? We know that all malicious software, generally speaking, whatever name you want to put on it, it's very confusing when you hear worm, Trojan, virus. There's so many different names, and spyware was popular a few years ago. What does this all mean? What is all this stuff? What it really means is it's malicious code. So when you're talking about a worm, a virus, most of the times the names are attributed to the goals or the actions that the software performs. And you have to remember that, again, generally speaking, all malicious code really just comes down to lines of code. It's software. It's software just like any other software company puts it out. It just happens to be compiled with malicious intent. So now that we know that, what conclusions can we make about how to actually start dealing with this problem? On the market right now, there are very, very few, if any, consumer products that are sort of addressing the issue by looking at malware really as just simply software. So how do we address that problem? Well, at BluePoint Security, we do things a little differently than you're going to expect from a normal AV company. Just to give you a quick example, let's say that tomorrow we wake up and we look at CNN and there's a brand new worm that's out and it's spreading through an Internet Explorer 7 vulnerability. Not to pick on Microsoft, just to give an example. Most of the AV companies are going to be scrambling to patch, not the vulnerability itself, that's Microsoft's jobs of course, but they're going to be scrambling around trying to patch all the variants of code that are now exploiting this new vulnerability. So again, if you just simply write that out on a whiteboard, it doesn't make a lot of sense. To scramble around after the fact, after there's an incident, how many of your customers have been infected, their data is lost, you may have data integrity incidents. We had Aurora a few months back that Google and some of the others were hit with. Things like that just shouldn't happen. So to give that example, if you were running BluePoint Security and you were to visit a website that was infected with that very same piece of malicious code that none of the AV vendors knew about, including us, instead of just being silently infected behind your back, which can often happen when there's a vulnerability out there that's not patched, the malware writers are exploiting that, BluePoint's going to actually prevent that for you. Not because we know it as malicious or we know it to be bad. It's actually just the opposite. It's because we don't know about it. We can't prove that the authenticity of the software comes from a trusted known vendor. Therefore, we can't guarantee your safety with that software. So what do we do about it? Well, we prevent it. If you're in silent mode, it's silently prevented and you never even know about it.